Good evening, and welcome to episode 1 of Please Excuse Our Momentary Interruptions of Sports from a Regular Daily Schedule. I'm your host, Creston Reynolds, and alongside of me today is the esteemed duo of Ryan Haletta and Nadiri Morgan-Thompson. Tonight we will discuss topics in the NBA, NFL, and NHL. Let's get right into it. The NFL announced the salary cap would be increased to $279.2 million, a $24 million increase from last year. The Packers will have $48.8 million, the Bears have $79.4 million, the Vikings have about $53 million, and the Lions will have about $51.3 million. With each NFC North team having about $50 million, what is the state of the division for the future? Ryan, let's start with you.
Yeah, the division looks great. Each team is about the same spot. They could all be contenders next year. The Bears are on the right side of a rebuild. The Packers are entering potentially maybe the start of a dynasty if they can rattle off a few Super Bowl wins. The Lions got to the NFC pretty divisional, right?
Yep.
Yeah, divisional round last year. And the Vikings, they got beat by the Lions, but they got a rookie quarterback coming in. So I think it could be boom or bust for literally all four teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with a lot of what you said. I'm not sure if I agree with the Packers being a dynasty anytime soon. I think that the Bears and Lions are both actually way closer to being a dynasty. The Lions are looking to, shore up their defense. Their secondary needs major help. You're hoping that you can re-sign Contra Davis, and they're also looking for an edge rusher that can be on the opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson. We're looking for them to be in the trade market as somebody like Myles Garrett. The Bears have a quarterback on a rookie contract who seems to show a lot of potential. They have a new head coach who seems to revolutionize offense, and they're looking to make major improvements on their offensive line, along with adding, a nice new running back. I think that the Bears and the Lions will probably be the top two teams in the NFC North this upcoming year.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think for the Vikings, they got to get their secondary guys back. Stephon Gilmore, Shaq Griffin, Byron Murphy, all free agents this year. So it'll be interesting to see how many guys, if any of the guys that they signed there. And like you were saying, for the Lions, they kind of got exposed in that divisional round by the Commanders. Carlton Davis, like you said, was that guy. Terry Arnold being developed will be important. Charvarius Ward, I think, would be a guy that they could watch. Who's a guy that you guys think maybe in the draft that could be on NFC North watch?
I like all three of the top running backs for the Vikings. Ashton Jeanty, Omarion Hampton, and Bashan Tootin. At 24, you're sitting in a pretty prime spot where you could trade back. You could trade up with some draft capital. They got a rookie quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. Mm-hmm. He's going to be a sophomore, but it'll be his first year playing. Kevin O'Connell's got that offense under control. You let Brian Flores handle the defense. They got $63 million to play with, but I think the draft is where they can really attack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me, I think the Bears should look at Ashton Jeanty. Their running back room last year was really bad. DeAndre Swift is one of the worst running backs in the league. And Ashton Jeanty is, based off what he did in college, it's looking like he's going to come to the league and be a Tier 1 running back. I think that'll help the Bears tremendously.
Yeah, really great points there, guys. But unfortunately, we're going to have to move on to our next topic. The NFL Combine was held this past weekend, and many players improved their draft stock, while others may have fallen. I want you guys to tell me a little bit about a guy that you guys think maybe helped their draft stock and where you think they'll end up in this year's draft. Nadiri, we'll start with you.
I really like Nick Imanowari, the safety from South Carolina. He had a historic combine, having a 43-inch vertical, 11.06 broad jump, and a 4.4 40-yard dash, while measuring at 6'3", with a 9 hand size, 220 pounds. He's just an athletic freak out there. You know what I mean? I think that he would fit really nicely on the Dolphins. The Dolphins have a lot of athletic freaks on the team with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill on the offensive side, so putting one on defense will help them for sure.
Yeah, I already brought this guy up, but Bashan Tootin, 5'9", 206 pounds, ran a 4.32 40. He had a 40.5-inch vert, a 10.10 broad jump, just a freak athlete. He's just explosive, agile, he's quick. He could even fall to be a day 2 pick or near the end of the first round, like I mentioned for the Vikings. But for that second day pick, I can see the Browns going after him, the Raiders, the Chargers, maybe the 49ers even too.
Yeah, I think a guy for me was Shamar Stewart at Texas A&M, the edge rusher. I've been hearing from kind of these analytics that he may be a project guy, but he scored almost a perfect 10 at the Combine, ran a 4.59 40-yard dash, jumped 40 inches in the vertical jump. I think staying in the NFC South, I think two teams that could use him were the two worst rushing teams, the Falcons and the Panthers. Mm-hmm. I think those teams really need help and can kind of look for this guy to build up their defense and look at what they possibly have there. Is there anybody else that you guys maybe are looking for to sneak into the first round?
I'd say Maxwell Harrison really made a big impact. 4.28 40-yard dash, that's just blazing speed. And I think he'd be a really nice fit on the hosts, the Green Bay Packers, for this year's draft. He had an insane broad jump and insane vertical jump. So
yeah, I totally agree. Next up, we will discuss Alex Ovechkin's chase for the all-time goal record. Stay tuned on UWW-TV.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
It's always been there, his love of the outdoors. Some days, you wonder if it might be his calling. Truth is, you know that the things he's passionate about today will build the foundation of what he does tomorrow, and possibly inspire a new journey. All he needs now is a way to make it happen. We are the universities of Wisconsin. 13 universities, unlimited opportunity.
Matt checking in to see how Sam is doing on his project, and it's getting close to exporting now, the final step in the process. And it is complete, and Sam is hyped. Finally gets complete and spikes the ball into the end zone. Sam's celebrating with his colleagues, and they throw a flag on the play. The ref's gonna call excessive celebration. Sam is in disbelief and can't believe it. He tries to dispute the call, but the ref is not having any of it.
Welcome back to PEOMIOSFYRDS. With Alex Ovechkin only 11 goals away from breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal record, we're going to discuss whether he will break it this year and who may he break it against. Nadiria, I'll start with you.
I think he's almost a shoo-in to break it this year, right? He has 9 goals in his last 10 games. With, I believe, 16 games left of the year. I think, he's going to break it, and he might even reach, 900 goals. I think he has about another year or two left in the tank for him. A lot of people try to call him the Russian LeBron. I don't know if he has LeBron longevity quite, but he's gonna last a pretty long time.
Well, do you think he retires though? Like if he doesn't get a championship though? Like I think if he gets a championship, gets the goal record, I think he's done.
Yeah, I think 1,000% if he gets the record and gets a championship, that would be a second championship. He'd get the record. What else do you have to prove at that point?
I mean, he might flirt with 900 goals. Like it's crazy what he's done, and he's 39. It all depends on how his body's feeling at that point and how far the Capitals do go this year.
Yeah, I also think it's important to note that he only has 1 year left on his deal, so he might just play that out, turn 40, and then maybe call it a career. But yeah, I mean, he's averaging about 30 goals a season, so he would definitely get the 900.
I mean, 12 games out from now, they're against the Sabres on March 30th. Yeah. And then the Wild the day before, or 3 days before. April 1st, they play the Bruins, so I think it could be one of those 3 games that he beats.
It'll just be interesting to see whether he gets it at home or on the road.
Right.
I know they're probably hoping he doesn't at home. I think the championship thing is very interesting, though. You do really want to ride your horse off into the sunset, so you have to wonder if the next 2 years he doesn't win a championship. Does that entice him to come back for another year and try to, ride out, and really extend his, his lead for having the most goals all time, or does he call it quits at the end of his contract, no matter what?
Yeah.
I mean, it'll kind of be interesting to see kind of what he does, what he decides, and especially kind of long-term with the Capitals where they kind of go even if he retires, because that's just something historically that will always be a part of their team.
Well, it's just how far does he want to break, push the record.
It sure will be interesting to see whether or not he will break the record. Moving on to our next topic. With legendary Spurs coach Greg Popovich announcing he will not return to the sideline this season after suffering a stroke last November, and his coaching career in question, what is the impact of the Spurs long term, and does this have an impact to the NBA as a whole? Nadiri?
I think for the Spurs long term, it hurts because Pop has been their coach for almost 2 decades. But I also think because they have a young superstar in Victor Wembanyama, they're going to have to find a new franchise cornerstone head coach no matter what, right? It is sad that Pop doesn't get to go out on his own accord he's kind of going out because of health issues. It's very sad. But also, you want to leave the game before the game leaves you. And I think this is kind of the sign that he should head towards retirement.
See, I think that Victor Wembanyama news is a lot more serious right now. Obviously, a stroke is not good either. But I mean, two health concerns, like blood clots in a shoulder. That's scary. We know Chris Bosh had to retire from blood clots. Like, it's not going to be easy for the Spurs. They're playing subpar basketball. They're below average this year. They did trade for De'Aaron Fox, so that could be a boost to their lineup. But sadly, I think Pop's career is over. Mitch Johnson's done fine as their interim, but I just think that it has to come at the expense of healthcare.
I just think it's interesting that they haven't really found the guy to replace him yet.
Right.
They didn't really have anybody on the sidelines that was like, okay, we're going to pass the torch to this person. Like I remember when the Patriots had Bill Belichick, they had Gerard Mayo come in and be like, hey, we're going to pass the torch to you once Bill Belichick is retiring or gone. But I feel like the Spurs really haven't done very well planning.
Yeah.
So, well, I really don't know any names off the top of my head that would really stand out to me.
Well, and they had to think that something was going to, Papa had to step down eventually. I mean, he's been coaching the same team for 2 decades.
Right.
Yeah, no. I mean, their top assistant a couple years ago was actually Becky Hammond.
Yeah.
And she ended up going to the WNBA and becoming the head coach of the Las Vegas Aces. So I think that's very interesting to see if when he goes away, if they bring her up to be the first, female head coach in the NBA.
Yeah, I agree. Coming up after the break, we will talk about the passing of the torch to the young generation in the NBA. Stay tuned to PEOMIOSFYRDS.
Have you heard of UROC?
We're part of Whitewater and our own thing.
Come on, we'll show you.
I learned how to be a college student here, and now I'm headed off to Madison to study global health, and I know I'm ready.
People like me who aren't a fan of big crowds would really like UROC because it's welcoming and it's laid back.
My advisor helped me figure out my schedule, organize my time, fill out my FAFSA, and figure out what classes I liked and how to turn that into a major. And if I had to do it again, I would choose UROC.
You ready to rock?
You belong here.
The Wisconsin Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. We're here to compete, to inspire, to grow, and to make history. We are rooted in tradition. For over a century, we have contended as the premier conference within Division III.
I shot the ball!
We are united throughout Wisconsin. All 8 of our full-time member institutions are based in our great state. But although Wisconsin is our home, our impact reverberates across the entire nation, crowning 180 national team championships and counting. Our mission is to shape student athletes who excel academically and athletically, equipped to become leaders in life. We are here to build on our enduring legacy and move boldly forward into the future. We are the WIAC, Excellence in Action.
I'm Ryan Helda, and this is The Insider at UWW-TV. The Lady Warhawks opened up their WIAC basketball tournament at Capitol Gymnasium on February 25th, soaring to a 66-52 win over the Falcons from UW River Falls. UW Whitewater had 4 scores in double digits. Mia Gillis had 10, Casey Curlow with 11, Bree McCurdy scored a career-high 17, and Maggie Troush led with 18 points. However, the senior highlighted in this one was not the leading scorer, it was her teammate Casey Curlow. The senior guard, who is Whitewater through and through, finished her night with 9 rebounds, 7 assists, and 5 steals to accompany her 11 points on the offensive end. She was 3 of 6 from the field, a perfect 4 of 4 from the line, yet 1 for 3 from beyond the arc. However, this lone three-pointer proved to be the biggest one of her career, as Carlo broke the women's WIAC record of career three-pointers made with 231. At our press time, the Warhawks await a potential NCAA Division III tournament bid, and will look to see how much magic they can dance with in March. This season's squad is led by 5 seniors who look to continue their college basketball careers, craft a run in the postseason, and make their mark in Whitewater women's basketball history. Speaking of history, Carlo now joins her teammate from the 2024 Aaliyah Grundall and 2014 alum Caitlin Phil as UW Whitewater stat leaders in the WIAC. Phil has the most steals with 428, Grundall owns the points record with 1,952, the most field goals attempted with 1,506, and the most games played with 127. And now Casey Corallo is the three-point queen of the WIAC with 231 career threes made. Excellence keeps on flying to the Whitewater women's locker room, and the purple and white will wait to see what other conference records may be surpassed in the near future. I'm Ryan Helda, and this has been The Insider on UWW TV.
She's always had it. Pure ambition. An unbridled self-confidence that most people only dream of. You see it driving her, empowering her, and in time, you see it fueling her future. Perhaps even helping her blaze a new trail. All she needs now is a way to make it happen. We are the Universities of Wisconsin. 13 universities. Unlimited opportunity.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Sports fans, we cheer on our favorite teams at fields, gyms, arenas, and stadiums. But have you ever wondered what it's like to be a referee? Verbal abuse from fans, parents, and coaches is the #1 reason why many referees are walking away. And they're not being replaced quickly enough by new ones. So put yourself in the official shoes, act with respect, and be officially human.
With players like LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant nearing the end of their careers, young teams like the Thunder, Cavs, Rockets, and Grizzlies are starting to rise. Is it time to officially start advertising the young talent? Is the future of the NBA bright? Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, the future of the NBA is always going to be bright. I think basketball is such an evolving door in the sense that like new players are coming into the league and they're introducing energy, excitement into this game. I mean, we see Cooper Flagg in college basketball right now. He's putting the NCAA on notice, and I mean, basketball's one of those sports where like anybody can go off on any night. Like you can just see a random guy go off for 30 plus a night. Like basketball is just about finding your shot, finding how you want to play your game, and adapting is a very big aspect of this game. So I think maybe like giving credit to LeBron, KD, Steph for starting the new generation of basketball, but then giving to these young guys and like Shea, I mean Jalen Brunson too. He's been pretty good. So.
Yeah, I think something that has to be talked about with the old guys is how each of them are riding their own like course into the sunset.
Yeah.
The Suns are terrible, right? The Suns are projected to miss the play-in, and they have the most expensive team in the league. Kevin Durant is actually looking like he's going to get traded again. But I also think it's very interesting because you look at a team like the Warriors at trade line, they made a move for Jimmy Butler. They're 7-1 in the Jimmy Butler era, and they went from the 11th seed to the 7th seed with a chance to even, claim the 6th seed. And we see somebody like LeBron, right? The Lakers kind of traded for his replacement in a way because Luka is obviously going to, take the keys to the city of LA. But they're the 2nd seed, right? So LeBron can go on in a championship. The Warriors are looking to make a run. Then we see somebody like KD who's, running to Cancun. So, it's going to be a tough one for all the old guys for sure.
Yeah, I think the Lakers right now are like Adam Silver's dream. You have the old guy in LeBron kind of teaching Luka, and then he can start advertising Luka. But yeah, I think if Adam Silver was smart, which about 50-50 here at this point, I think he needs to start looking at who's next up. Kind of always relying on those older guys is going to hurt you at some point because, as we know, the viewership is down right now. It needs help.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. Somebody like Shea, Jason Tatum, even like older guys who are like kind of hitting their prime now, Jokic, even Embiid, he's hurt a lot, but he's in his prime. Wemby, even Giannis, all these players, if they're marketed better, the league is going to skyrocket. For one, a lot of them are international, right? So you're getting every single market in the world. Joel Embiid's from Africa, Jokic is from Europe, Shea's from Canada. Like you're hitting different continents, all these things. If the NBA can market them successfully, the league is going to take off and hit new peaks.
Yeah. Well, that's all the time we have on that topic. Moving into our final topic. With Matthew Stafford officially returning to the LA Rams, the Giants, Jets, and Raiders look at alternatives for their quarterback. Focusing on those three teams, do those teams turn to the draft, or do you see these teams looking for an established veteran in free agency? Nadiri, we'll start with you.
Starting with the Raiders, I think the Raiders are really interesting because of the Tom Brady being a part of their team and their ownership. Because I think if you're Brady, right, you're not used to losing at all to any, at all. So, you're really looking to, have this rebuild be as fast as possible. And your quarterback room is kind of terrible. Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew, you're not looking the best, but what do you do, right? In the draft, we see a Cam Ward, we see Mr. Shador Sanders. You even have Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe. And me personally, I don't love any of those options, but in free agency, it's like, do you pay Sam Darnold $40 million a year? I don't really love that. Or do you go with like Jameis Winston? I don't know if I love J-Bo, but I don't love him that much. So for the Raiders, I think it'll definitely be a hard offseason for them to decide what they do in the quarterback room.
I don't think it's that hard. I mean, picture the California kid. He's sitting in for agency. Yep. Aaron Rodgers. Bring him over to Vegas. Be a stopgap quarterback. Develop a rookie quarterback. You can take one day 2 if one doesn't follow you at pick 13 day 1. Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe can certainly develop. You got 2 great quarterbacks in the Raiders. If you do sign Rodgers, I mean, I'm sure Brady will be in on those meetings at some point.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
But then you also have guys like Joe Flacco, Jacoby Brissett, Jameis Winston, Daniel Jones, Mac Jones, maybe even the ex-Steeler quarterbacks too, like Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. I mean, I think Justin Fields deserves a really good chance somewhere else too.
Yeah. I think for the Giants specifically, I mean, Malik Neighbors had an absolutely outstanding year, and he had Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, and Tommy DeVito as his quarterbacks. Yeah. If you literally bring anybody in, a veteran guy, he's going to shine. You could even bring in Kirk Cousins. I know the Falcons say they don't want to go off of him and all that money, but Malik Neighbors is going to shine. He's going to show his talent, and I just think if any team is going to go for a free agent, I think it's going to be the Giants. Otherwise, the Raiders got to stop experimenting with these veterans, and the Jets are just wasting the defense's talent.
Yeah, see, I think you let Jordan Travis do something this year.
Yeah,
let Tyrod Taylor play the first 2 to 3 games, then hand it off to Jordan Travis. He's got so much athletic ability. He's so agile. He's so quick. I mean, his best season was his junior year in 2022 in Florida State. And I mean, just give that guy a chance, and he'll do something.
For sure. When we come back, we'll present our final thoughts for this week's episode. Stay tuned.
We'd love to show you what it's like to be a Warhawk.
Come on!
Don't miss out on your chance to be a Warhawk.
At UW Whitewater.
You belong here!
You can see it. His potential, that is. You see it even when he may not. You see that the things that spark his interest today will in time ignite the things he pursues tomorrow. And ultimately, help him reach new heights. All he needs now is a way to make it happen. We are the universities of Wisconsin. 13 universities, unlimited opportunity.
UWW-TV has been an important part of the campus and community since 1980.
Not only providing on-air learning opportunities for broadcast journalists and electronic media production students,
but educating and entertaining our audiences with award-winning news, live sports coverage, original programming,
as well as dedicating the mission to developing creative collaborations throughout campus.
For more information, visit our website and like us on Facebook.
Check us out because you gotta see what's on UWW-TV.
Sports fans, we pack stadiums, arenas, and local gyms every day. And every sports fan is uniquely human. Seeing each play with your own eyes, triggering your own emotions. And as humans, we won't agree on every call, but we can act with empathy and consideration. So put yourself in the official shoes. Be more than a fan. Be officially human.
Welcome back to PEOMIOSFYRDS. Let's wrap it up by talking about our final thoughts for today's episode. Ryan, let's start with you today.
Yeah, I'm just very excited for this draft. I mean, it's in Green Bay, but I want to think about more of in depth on the draft. It is just not clear who's going to go number 1 overall. It's not clear who the top 10 is, the 5, or even top 3. you can see teams trade out, you can see teams trade in, you can see teams take defense or quarterback. Like, I don't know what the Titans are going to do at 1. They can take a quarterback, they can take Abdul Carter. I don't know where Travis Hunter's going to fall.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, for the first time in a while, we don't have a clear-cut mock draft, and it actually is very exciting.
Yeah.
And I would agree wholeheartedly. I think this draft is going to be really interesting. I think if the Titans were smart, they would trade out. You don't really want Cam Ward. Abdul Carter's great, but I don't think he wants to play in Tennessee. I think we all know where Abdul Carter wants to play. He wants to fly. He wants to go to Philly. You know what I think? If you trade with a team like...
He's not going to Philly, dude. He's not.
It's going to happen eventually.
No, he's not.
It's happening eventually. I'm just going to tell you.
Dude, there's no way.
He already wants to go to Philly before he gets drafted. He's going to get out of that rookie contract, and he's going to be a Philadelphia Eagle. You can mark that, clip it right now. Show this in like 5 years, and I'll be right.
Yeah, I think my final thought is that I think the Bengals made a mistake franchise tagging T. Higgins. I think with all the money you're paying Burrow, I think with all the money you're going to have to pay Chase, with all the money you're going to have to pay Hendrickson, and now Higgins, that defense struggled. I mean, Joe Burrow had #1 passing yards and #1 touchdowns, but the defense was letting up 42 points a game. At a certain point, the Bengals are going to have to start, getting rid of some guys because that defense is.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to get worse before they get better. And they're already pretty bad, so I don't know how much worse they can get, but they're going to have to.
Tag and trade T.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. That will do it for tonight's episode. Thank you for watching, and tune in next time to hear more of our takes all around the world of sports. This has been Please Excuse Our Momentary Interruption of Sports from your regular daily schedule on UWW TV.